You're good.
Wow. Hey, look, I'm watching CNN, Turtleboy and calling in. You know what they're reporting? Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden's in trouble. They say Hunter Biden didn't pay his taxes. Hunter Biden may have been involved in money laundering. Wow, this is big news. I thought he was a good kid. That's what Joe said. Debates said he was a good kid. Had a little, substance abuse issue. He overcame it, according to Joe, and we moved on. And I was told 50 intelligence sources said it's a Russian disinformation campaign. Were we misled back in September or October before the election? Were we lied to by the mainstream media? Are you telling me Hunter Biden is a crook?
Jeez, you weren't lied to the mainstream media because they didn't talk about it at all, Jerry. Duh.
That's what I was going to say. What are you talking about, Jerry? I have no idea. Can you inform me for a second?
This is my favorite part of yesterday was watching all the mainstream media who smothered this story with all their heart and soul and hopes, and it worked again. I congratulate them. They got their guy elected. They buried the news. They are liars and frauds and complete partisans. It worked. They got the guy elected, and now they're reporting it like, hey, look, Hunter Biden. You know how they got the story yesterday? You know how the story broke? Joe Biden broke the story. Joe Biden and the transition team released a press release saying Hunter was under investigation for tax fraud or for tax affairs, investigating his tax affairs. And Joe Biden released a statement. By the way, Hunter released a statement with Joe on the transition team, email from the transition team saying Hunter Biden's under investigation, and Hunter Biden in the release from Hunter, he blames his professional tax advisors. He said, "I handled my affairs legally and appropriately with the benefit of professional tax advisors." And I heard one lawyer on cable news say that means he's going to blame the accountants. Why
wouldn't you blame the accountants?
I guess he will. Here's the problem he has, and you and I and anybody who doesn't watch CNN exclusively or MSNBC, we know what a dirtbag Hunter Biden is. Heck, if you're just tuning in and you're not aware of this, there's video out there of Hunter Biden smoking crack while a woman gives him a foot job. That would be a hand job with your feet. And you could see the video. You could see, and you can't watch it without asking, what if Donald Trump Jr. or Eric Trump had been caught in this compromising position? It would have been the only news story they did on CNN and MSNBC, the Boston Globe, New York Times. That would have been all they did for a month. Especially
what I do for a living. Obviously, I do a lot of politics, but I do a lot of ratchets. But I do a lot of local guys. Some douchebag from Ware or Lawrence that did this and that. Like, none of those people have anything on Hunter Biden. He is a ratchet deluxe.
He is the biggest dirtbag in history. There's also video, and I thought we might have the identity of this young lady by now. Rumors were she was related to him. There's one story about how he was warned to stay away from his own niece because apparently she's a little party girl too, and she's underage. But there's a video. You can see it. I've seen it of Hunter Biden snorting coke off a naked woman's ass. It is the most salacious stuff you could ever imagine. I mean, you just can't make it up what a dirtbag he is. Think of his story. And I said this, 2 months ago. Think of all it entails. And if just imagine, and you could do this, Turtleboy, imagine you're a neutral, unbiased reporter just looking for a good story. You're working wherever, Washington Post, New York Times, and you just want a good story. You're idealistic, and you say, I'm here to break stories. I'm here to bring the news. And you have a story that involves the vice president's son, now the president-elect's son. It involves China, Russia, Ukraine, hookers, drugs, crack cocaine, and foot jobs.
Can you explain to us what foot jobs are one more time? You mentioned it, okay.
I can honestly say I know I've lived a boring life. I've never had one. I've never even seen one until I saw the Hunter Biden video. I don't look in the right, I don't look in the right places. Have you?
Have I seen a foot job before?
Yeah, I've stumbled across.
They've come up on the browser. Yes, they've come up on suggested videos. I don't think I've ever like
suggested video. Because you use the word job or something.
Well, it's just like you're in the realm, like you're in the category.
Is there a reason? Is there something that makes it feel better than a hand job?
I can't really. I don't know. It seems
speak to that.
Effective.
You could not.
Do you put lube on your feet too? Do you put what do you do? I don't know. It's weird. Strange.
The only thing missing from the Hunter Biden story would be a Chinese spy sleeping with them and stealing sensitive intelligence.
Did he actually bang her?
Well, he won't say, which to me, we're talking about Eric Swalwell now because,
family man, though.
Eric Swalwell, who's the smarmiest guy in Congress. He's one of those guys you look at and you say, do people really vote for him? Yeah. And he also, he was the leading voice, or one of the leading voices in the Russia hoax, the Ukraine hoax. I mean, he accused Donald Trump Jr. of spending time with a Russian spy. The Russian spy was set up. She was working for Glenn Simpson and Fusion GPS. They set him up saying under the pretense that it was about abortions or it was about the campaign. It was about Hillary. So they set him up. The woman had dinner with Glenn Simpson the night before she met with Donald Trump Jr. and the night after. That's how legit this was. They would set the whole thing up, and then they said, hey, Donald Trump Jr. was meeting with a Russian spy. This guy, Swalwell, was boinking a Russian spy. Is there any doubt?
I thought, is that confirmed, or were they just...
How do you confirm it? What do you want to do? Like,
is she alleged? I mean, there's pictures of them together. Is anybody alleged? He's a married man, right?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, I don't think so either. No, it's none of it is confirmed, but I mean,
how do you confirm it? I mean, he's not going to admit it. He wouldn't deny it.
The guy is in a picture with a hot Asian chick doesn't mean he's having sex with her.
Okay, she was with them, and she would banging two mayors, small town mayors, hoping the same thing, that they would.
He was married in 2016. He's married in 2016.
He was done with her in 2015. So
there you go. So she was she's the one that made him realize he wanted to settle down.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
And but what do you think? What do you think? She was known. Her MO as a spy was to get close to up and coming politicians. Get in close to them, bundle for them, raise money for them, probably get them in a compromising position. And when they were onto her, she screwed back to China. So she's gone. You're not going to hear from her. She did her job. And he said, I think no comment, or someone asked about if it was sexual, which means it was. If it wasn't, wouldn't he say no?
Yeah, probably. And what did she come back with? Intelligence. All this guy ever talks about is Russia.
Right, Russia. No, she came back and said, you can put me in the gulag with the Uyghurs. I don't care. I can't take it anymore. This guy is so annoying. You want to talk about a tough job, someone devoted to their country. She had to sleep with Eric Swalwell. Oh my God! What?
I mean, it could be worse. You could have got Jerry Nadler. Imagine that. You could put on Jerry Nadler.
Imagine if someone sees him with like a hot young Asian chick. I'm sure that's true love. How stupid do you have to be? She was a 30-something-year-old college student, and I think he was warned that she might be working for the enemy, but he was, it was love. It was love.
That says a lot about the fact that they targeted him. Like they could have picked anybody. They're like, let's get this idiot here. This guy doesn't shut up about Russia. He'll never suspect you. So just go in there and maybe give him a foot job here and there, and see what you can get out of him.
But again, back to my theme that if you were a real reporter, if there were any real reporters left, and think of the detail. I mean, just the angles you could go on. Hell, throw Swalwell into it. But with Hunter Biden, he's now being investigated. Here's the good news. If you at least realize what a scumbag Hunter is, and you wonder if he will ever pay a price when His father got elected because the mainstream media rigged the election, and I mean that. They suppressed this story and others in hopes of getting their guy elected. It worked. There's one poll that said 9.4% of Democrats, of voters who voted for Biden, would have voted for Trump if they knew about the Hunter Biden story.
I have not seen that poll. Where is that poll?
And remember, what's the lunatic's name who taped the video conversations too? You know, that was out last week. He taped CNN's conference calls where the political director he has audio of the political director saying, we are not going to report this story.
Right. Yes. It was, and that's just CNN. They never mentioned Tony Bobulinski's name. It never came out on the air. The business partner of Hunter and Joe, who met with Joe denied it. So in other words, they caught Joe Biden, the candidate, in a lie, and a very relevant to this story, to China. The big guy was getting a kickback. He denied it, and they didn't investigate it.
I got to be honest though, Jerry, like this whole, I've never heard of this story thing. I would have voted for Trump if I knew about it. Like, at the same time, it's like, what the hell's wrong with you? How do you not, even with all the censorship, we all knew about it. You can figure it out. Like, what's wrong with you?
Because they're apathetic voters. You know that. They're
really morons that are dependent on the mainstream media. If our democracy rests in the hands of morons who can't find the news on their own, democracy is dead.
Have you been paying attention?
Yeah.
That's the whole reason
New York
reason Trump is out and Biden is in is the moron vote. The people that didn't have enough motivation to go to the polls, that had to do mail-in voting, that didn't really care enough to read the news. Yes, the moron vote is huge this year.
It is, but it's not like this was hidden. Like, everybody was talking.
It was hidden.
It is hidden.
No, it was hidden.
Literally hidden.
No, it was hidden. But the fact that people were talking about it being hidden, there was enough outrage out there. This should have crossed your radar.
Do you think Tucker Carlson came up on my wife's Facebook feed talking about how this was hidden? It never happened.
Facebook, big tech. The election was rigged, and I'm not talking about dead people voting. I'm talking about big tech suppressing the news. Here's a fact that we know, we believe that Hunter Biden, let's say, under investigation. I believe he's a criminal, but we'll find out. He's under investigation. You were not allowed to talk about that, tweet about it, because big tech was in control. You couldn't write a Facebook post about Tony Bobulinski without it being censored. You couldn't tweet about Hunter without the possibility of you being censored. And the president of the United States was impeached for asking for an investigation. So he said, look into it. There's some real corruption here. That's it. That's why they impeached him. He was impeached, and Mitt Romney voted to impeach him because he said, let's look into this. There's some corruption here. Now we know he was right. There was corruption there, but he'll go down in history as the third president, I believe, ever impeached for that, for saying, look into him. That's the kind of control they had. That's the kind of effort they made to get Biden elected. And again, it worked. Big tech and big media got their guy elected. Hopefully it won't work that way next time. I mean, as you know, mail-in voting was the key, but maybe it wouldn't have mattered if we knew the truth. But here's where I'm confident, or at least optimistic, that maybe Hunter Biden will finally face justice. I mean, probably not. We see it all the time with James Comey and Brennan and these criminals that just never even worry about going to jail because they are deep state creatures that have the right allies, and there's never any.
All right, what about Paul Manafort and Michael Flynn?
I got a good friend who is heading to prison, and the prison he's going to, the most famous prisoner there was Paul Manafort.
Oh,
yeah, minimum security. I'll one of these days I'll give you all the details. It's a pretty interesting story, but some people, you know what?
I think the most amazing part of that is that Jerry's got a good buddy going to prison. Jerry moved to Boston. Next thing you know, he's got buddies going to prison.
Yeah, he did that just to earn the street cred.
My best friend is going to prison, and you know what? It's tax related, kind of like Hunter Biden. If Hunter Biden's name were, I don't know, Turtleboy Biden, if that were his name, he'd be going, or if it were Hunter Turtleboy, he'd be going to prison. If he weren't a Biden, there would be no doubt. And I'll tell you why. When you are indicted for tax crimes, they're not on money laundering also, by the way, according to CNN. That's where you get the big breaking stories from CNN. But consider this. This isn't about something, Tony Bobulinski said, or the woman who given him the foot job didn't say. It's not like they're relying on that crazy drunken lady at the hearing with Rudy Giuliani. They're not relying on her word. They're not relying on the testimony of a couple other people. They have what they have in black and white. They have, emails. They have documents. And I've seen this in court. You put those documents in front of the jury, they have real impact. You can't say, "Oh no, that's not my company," or that's not my money. They have it. They have checks or transfers. It is very compelling evidence. And I'm guessing they don't indict the president-elect's son if they don't have black and white concrete evidence. And what happens in that case is you don't go to trial. You say, "Look, Hunter, we got you nailed. You got that $3.5 million from the Moscow woman. You didn't pay taxes on it." That is a serious crime. I sat there and listened to a judge lecture, my friend, because if you don't pay all your taxes, you're stealing from the federal government. You're stealing from the people. And if he weren't Hunter Biden, we know he's a child of privilege. We know his father has protected him every step of the way. I think, and again, maybe I'm being too optimistic, I think he's going to prison. I do. And that's going to be in the middle of
Hunter Biden.
Yes, because wow. I mean, you have a serious tax evasion charge. Just say again, if you're reading, fake news.
Where'd that come from? He was a child of privilege. I thought he was going to get away with it because he's a child of privilege. Wasn't that your soliloquy there?
Yes, but I'm saying it'll be a slap. It'll be whatever, 4 months. It'll be it'll be much less than Turtleboy would have gotten for the same crime.
I see. Okay, but he will do something.
I don't see how, if they have proof that he got, just say that payment. He got $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife, a Russian oligarch, a friend of Putin, gave him $3.5 million, and he denied it. So if they have proof that he got $3.5 million and didn't pay taxes, that's a felony. That's a federal crime. That puts you in federal prison for, I don't know, 4 months.
Where do you put? What do you do with $3.5 million when you get it? Where do you put it? I'm not.
You know what you do? If you're Joe Biden, you buy another house. That's what you do on the ocean.
Yeah, but there's records of that. Don't you have to put it in offshore or something? How do you?
Yes. Well, I heard Peter Schweitzer, who's a great investigative reporter, saying it is a very difficult thing to unravel because he's got so many accounts in so many places, offshore accounts, and dummy corporations. To me, the bright side is he's a moron. He's a coke-addled moron. There's no way he covered all his tracks. I mean, let's be honest. We're dealing with a guy who dropped his laptop off at a repair shop with pictures of him naked, doing coke, getting a foot job, dropped that laptop off and never picked it up. That's just not a criminal genius.
Can't Joe Biden pardon him?
Yes, he can. He can. But that
would not be a good look.
It'll be a terrible look, but he'll only be president for what, a year and a half? What do you?
That's actually a great bet right there. How long will he be president for? Under 4 years, under 3, under 2, under 1, or all 4? What would you?
My over/under is a year and a half, 18 months. That's my over. Which
how will it end? How will it end?
It will end with him. He already revealed how it will end. Remember, he said if there's a disagreement, this is something, a rare moment of candor that came out of his deteriorating mind. When he was asked by Jake Tapper, his aide, Jake Tapper said, what if you two disagree? Because he said, he and Obama never disagreed on anything. That didn't matter because Obama didn't even consult him on anything. He was just insignificant. He told him, you go take care of Ukraine. I'll take care of everything else. Did you know the two places?
And the first time he disagrees with
the two places, just a quick aside, the two places where he was assigned to oversee were China and Ukraine, and both places his son made millions. Just a coincidence. Anyway, he said if they disagree, he will come down with some disease and walk away. That's what he said to Jake Tapper. You can get it, Cullen, and he did it 2 weeks ago. It was bizarre. It was a typical Joe Biden answer. It was bizarre, but and Kamala doing that stupid laugh was like, what?
I just feel like he's kind of such a pushover that like when a bunch of people come to him and they're like, Joe, you need to you can't be president anymore. You're losing your mind. He'll just say, oh, okay. Doesn't he seem like he won't put up a fight?
It's a good question though, Turtleboy. Like, what will be the official take?
That's what I'm saying, because you have to do it. Ultimately, the president has to make the choice to step down, right?
Well, no, they have the 25th Amendment. If he loses,
they're not going to do the 25th Amendment. Come on,
it'll be rumored. There'll be 25th Amendment rumors, but it'll be something. It's not going to be dementia. They're not going to say he has dementia. They're going to say he has Parkinson's, which is often accompanied by dementia, really, really bad dementia. He'll say he has or he has some kind of illness that makes it difficult for him to function on a day-to-day basis. He'll step down with dignity, and she will ascend to the throne, and that's where the crazies take over. That's where
when the Republicans come back, by the way. That's the best thing that ever happened to the Republican Party.
That's where the barbarians are inside the gate, and all the nut jobs and AOC.
Question, do you celebrate that, like as far as identity politics goes, if the first Black woman president doesn't get elected at all? Like she takes over in 2024.
And don't forget, Turtleboy, when she tried to get elected, she was the least popular candidate on stage. Even in her home state.
That, you're like, this is a great day for progress. A Black woman, became president, but ultimately she's Jerry Ford.
It's a terrible day. Right? It's a terrible day. She earned nothing. She's nobody supports her. Nobody voted for her. She couldn't even get 1% in her home state. She couldn't get she was not even in the top 3 choices among Black voters. They liked Liz Warren better. It's bizarre, but you're right. It's a good question. Then who does she pick as a vice president? What happens to Joe? And what happens 4 years?
How does the Constitution work with that? Because does the vice president then get to pick a new vice president, or is there like a succession order thing?
I think I don't know. I think she picks him. I think she picks him. But
there was a situation there, like Nixon's vice president, Spiro Agnew, like he resigned before Nixon did. I don't think there was a vice president at the time, if I want to say.
I believe Nelson Rockefeller was vice president.
Yeah, like Jerry Ford was the Speaker of the House, and he ascended to the throne.
All right, I don't know
how this works, but we might have a situation like this coming up.
Cullen will look it up.
Figure it out.
Cullen will look it up for you.
Yeah. I don't
know. Anyway, I don't know how we got off on that tangent, but yes, he can pardon him. It'll be a terrible look, especially if we know all the crimes he committed. I mean, General Flynn didn't commit any crimes. This guy committed many, many crimes. And maybe now it's interesting that CNN and the mainstream media, who were suppressing the news, so passionately for months to get Joe elected, they got him elected. Will they now cover all the other crimes? Will they ask who the girl in the videotape is? Will they look at all the stuff on the laptop, which is in the possession of the FBI, by the way? Will they advance the story is the question, or will it be a one-day thing? Hunter didn't pay his taxes. I got news for you: money laundering, taking millions, tens of millions from the Chinese and not paying taxes on it is a pretty serious crime. And if justice prevails, Hunter's going away for a long time. And you know what? That's probably the best thing for him. If you look at him in that video, he is a
mess. Oh yeah, you can't get drugs in prison, especially if you're the commissary.
But you can get foot jobs, Turtleboy. So
it's true. I don't know if you want one.
But you weren't here yesterday. Shattuck and I talked about Swalwell, which is just incredible. It is.
I love, by the way, the Tucker graphics with Swalwell are so good. Spy Who Shagged Me.
Spy Who Shagged Me. And he's like our elected officials in Massachusetts. You look at him, you say, who could ever vote for him? But I guess you'd say the same thing about like Liz Warren or James McGovern. And it is amazing. But So he goes out yesterday. He goes on his favorite network, CNN, and says that this is all a setup, or this is the work of the Trump administration trying to make him look bad. And I'm going, what? You're sleeping with a Chinese spy, and you think it's a setup? Yeah, it is, by the Chinese government, you moron. And he's on the House Intelligence Committee. He must have shared with her so much without even knowing it. I mean, like I said yesterday, in bed, with a candle lit and a bottle of wine, she got him in a very vulnerable position. She must have got from him everything she wanted.
Yeah. She loves him a long time, Jerry.
loves him. That's another meme out there. Loves him long time. And then the next day, it's like a movie. He wakes up, she's gone. There's a little note saying it's been fun, and she's back in Beijing before he knows what hit him.
Which Asian person do you think the Boston Globe is going to pay more attention to, Jerry? This Chinese spy, or the chick who gave Bob Kraft a hand job?
Oh, that's a good question.
I know. We all know the answer to that question.
Are they determined to find the video of Swalwell's? Do they want to see Swalwell's wiener?
No interest in that.
Yeah, it was fun watching the Boston Globe write about this too, because they wanted nothing more than to see Kraft's penis. That was like the goal. The whole staff, the editorial staff, the ownership, Linda Pizzuti, John Henry, was so determined to get their hands on a video of Bob Kraft naked, and they failed. And then the women got punished, and Kraft didn't, which you knew would send all the Globies into fits of and it did. They're so upset that Kraft got away with it. Two consenting adults had a little sexual contact in a room, and the Globe thought it was the biggest story since 9/11.
I'll tell you what, Jared, do you know we're being actively censored right now as we speak? This stream, the comments are not showing up in the stream, and the number of people watching is down, and something's going on. We might need to get a new platform, because I don't know if you saw, 48 states are suing Facebook. That's
what I've been working on. That's why I'm gone here. I'm trying to figure out if there was a technical issue, because we are about 7 times less than we would normally be in terms of views.
Well, we got censored the other day, and you'll understand this one, Turtleboy, for talking about Pete Davidson.
Yes.
I could see why, because we're the only people talking about Pete Davidson, as you said.
No, the numbers went down because no one cares about Pete Davidson.
Yeah, no one's mentioned Pete Davidson. But what did we do today?
I think we just talked about Hunter Biden right out the top. Is what I don't know. What do you're more experienced with this stuff? I was trying to figure it out. I thought it was a technical thing. I rebooted the whole thing on my end. That's what I was doing.
So Facebook is monitoring us or censoring us for talking about like the biggest story of the day. Hunter Biden's under investigation.
It's the only thing I can come up with.
We can broadcast, and we can see on our end the comments coming in. But if you're actually watching on Facebook, those comments are not showing up.
Yeah.
Wow. So people are writing in comments, they're just not showing up. It's freaking crazy.
Well, you might know better than I do, because I'm a moron when it comes to this, and so is Cullinane. He's a moron when it comes to anything. But what we were talking about going on Rumble. What do you think of that? Is it for real? Is it a genuine alternative to YouTube?
It is not
a gay dating app. Rumble.
Rumble is the alternative to YouTube, which
people do it. I mean, why not just do YouTube?
We do YouTube, dummy.
You've kept up with the news. YouTube is doing more censoring than anyone.
True.
YouTube came down with new rules yesterday that they will take down any video about election fraud, about voter fraud, questioning the outcome of the election. Now, 18 states are suing these swing states that we know stole the election for Biden. We know, I'm gone. We're gone. We're off YouTube now. I just said they stole the election. If you say Biden stole the election, you get yanked off of YouTube. That's point we've reached.
That's true.
We haven't gotten one complaint off of YouTube though throughout this process. Facebook has been a little bit of an issue for us, unfortunately.
And it's going to get worse. I mean, people voted for censorship. They voted for big tech, they voted for big media, they voted for censorship, and we're going to get it.
And they didn't try to hide it either. They literally ran on that platform of Donald Trump. Kamala Harris's big thing was Donald Trump should be banned from Twitter.
Yes. she wants the president, and he will be when he leaves office. Twitter is going to ban him, which will be wild.
Which will be awful for their fucking bottom line.
But they don't care. They're zealots. They don't care. They want to stop him still. But I'm serious. Is Rumble an up and coming alternative to YouTube? Is it a viable alternative to YouTube? It's like Parler. Is Parler a viable alternative to Twitter?
Yeah, but Parler got like a really effective media bump from the conservative circles, and it was like really well timed. Everything was in unison. Rumble has just come out of nowhere. It's like a Bongino side project.
But yesterday, don't you think, was a big day for Rumble because YouTube came down with these new rules and banned? It's like hundreds or thousands of videos taken down because people questioned the outcome of the election, and they will not stand for that. I mean, there's thousands of videos questioning the outcome of the 2016 election because, Russia, but you can't question the outcome of the 2020 election, even though we have all kinds of examples of voter fraud. They won't allow it. That's their policy, and they've been emboldened by the results of the election. So they're going to take you down if you mention election fraud, voter fraud. Again, I just mentioned it, so we're in trouble on YouTube.
Now, there's some rules that like you can mention 2 out of 3 things. Tim Pool tweeted it out.
I saw it. I saw the rules. Yeah. You can't say that Trump won because Trump.
You can say it was fraud. You just can't say that Trump lost because of
it, right? Yeah, right. But why would you care about it if it didn't affect the outcome?
Unbelievable.
There's always voter fraud. That's the biggest lie of this whole story. This of the last 2 months is there was no voter fraud. You can't say that. We know there was. It's been proven. The only question is, was there enough to swing the election? And I don't think so. I don't think they're going, God bless all these attorneys general for trying, but they're not going to overturn the election. But they're never going to convince, at least anyone who's paying attention, that there was no voter fraud. Of course there was voter fraud. Read Ann Coulter from yesterday. She does the history of voter fraud, and it's all by Democrats, and it's all in big cities, and sometimes it swings elections. It is a major problem, but it works in the favor of the right people and the people the media is rooting for, so you don't hear much about it. And if you do, Google, which owns YouTube, will censor you. It is scary. So why don't you do a little research for us, Turtleboy? Find out if Rumble's is a legit alternative.
I mean, I'll check it out, but it's all just about people. Like the reason we do it on Facebook is this is where all the people are. You want to go where the people are. Like if people aren't on Rumble, then what's it worth?
Well, the question is, will they go to Rumble? Will they?
No, because Rumble's so obscure right now. I mean, look at just what's happening though. Even in the last 90 days, look at like Newsmax beat Fox News in the ratings last week. Newsmax.
I know that was big news. Greg Kelly beat, was it Martha McCallum?
Yeah.
He beat her. You know what? Fox News took a hit when they declared Arizona for Biden, and
he barely won that state. But they're so lucky that Biden winning by 10,000. That was the closest state.
And they allowed that snake, Chris Wallace, to do the things he did. And did you see what Chris Wallace did the other day? Now, I'm one of those, I can't stand them. And when they promote Fox News Sunday, his show, I can't turn it off fast enough. I can't look at his face. But Chris Wallace had a guest on the other day who referred to Joe Biden as vice president, and he corrected him, said, that's President-elect Joe Biden.
Oh,
he insists his guests call Biden president-elect, not vice president. So that's what kind of fanatic he is, what kind of snake.
I actually think Chris Wallace got away with being kind of like a part of Fox News for far too long. Like
I know he did. I don't say I was fooled. I just thought he was fairly neutral. But we saw his true colors, man. He is a part of.
But nobody looks at your local Fox affiliate as Fox News. Chris Wallace has been on your local Fox affiliate basically only. He does little like live hits on Fox News every now and then, but he's on the local stations every Sunday. So he really never should have been in that. He was always catering to that crowd, But
he's also on Fox News. They replay it, and he made some, especially during election time. He's one of their experts on their panels. And he's so smarmy.
Yeah, do you think they'd ever put Tucker Carlson on Fox affiliates on Sunday morning?
No, they should. They should. Tucker has maintained his ratings, and he will continue to maintain his ratings. He's the leader of the resistance. If you could pick one person, now that Biden and everybody takes over, big tech, big media, Hollywood, they all won. Mm-hmm. Who would you call the leader of the resistance?
Oh, it's Tucker Carlson. But at the same time, there's even people on the right that think Tucker Carlson's not MAGA enough. Like there are people that are like, he's a sellout because he said mean things about what's her name, that crazy Southern lawyer there.
Sidney Powell.
Yeah, her. Yeah, like he wasn't. He's not crazy enough about Trump. There's people out there telling Republicans not to vote for Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue. People like Lynn Wood are out there saying, they haven't earned your vote. What the hell's wrong with these people? I mean,
no, I don't think they're going to be very effective. I think the Republicans will turn out unless Stacey Abrams. I mean, I heard Newt Gingrich say this. He's right. If Stacey Abrams can get enough illegal votes, enough fraud, like she did last time, they could win. But if it's on the level if it's on the level, Republicans will win. That campaign to not vote.
I don't hate anybody as much as I hate those people. I thought I hated libertarians. Right. I hate the diehard MAGA people telling you not to vote because what have the Republicans of the Senate done for you? Do you idiots realize what they're going to do if they get the Senate? They're going to make the first thing is DC becomes a state. Then Northern California becomes a state. They're going to they're going to make a bunch of states and they're going to make sure that each of those states gets 2 Democratic senators. Then they can have the power to pack the Supreme Court. They can do it. The damage will be irreparable. Like our country's.
There's no question, but
Mitch McConnell may control the Senate.
I don't feel like it's a very effective campaign. I think it's overblown. I think more people now are inspired or motivated to vote just because those people, the Lynn Woods, I think Mike Lindell was supporting Lynn Wood also in this, but there's also time to change your mind and say, screw this. This is more important. Let's get these Republicans in. Let's not lose the Senate because you're going to get the House back in 2 years. And there's a good chance you get the White House back in 4 years. If it's Biden and Harris, does anyone think those two together are going to be a real effective?
Who's going to win re-election of those two?
They're not. Well, it depends who the nominee is.
Biden is not going to win re-election, and Kamala Harris cannot win a presidential election.
No question. I think because he's not MAGA enough makes him more viable as the leader of the resistance. Because you don't want to be too married to MAGA. There's a
right. He's his own man. That's what people like about Tucker. He's his own man.
Hannity's the MAGA leader.
Yeah,
Tucker's the leader of the resistance. There's a difference. And all the candidates except for Don Jr. have to be their own man. You know, all the Tom Cottons and Ron DeSantis and Kristi Noems, they can't be too MAGA. The MAGA guy is Don Jr. And the MAGA is going to end now. I don't think Don Jr. or Don Sr. is going to be the nominee in 4 years. It's going to be someone else who adopts Trump's policies, but doesn't, have the red hat and doesn't tweet stupid stuff and doesn't say crazy stuff. And, that will be good for all of us, don't you think?
I hope so. That person is not named Nikki Haley. So if she's the answer, then we're in trouble, Jerry.
No, I think that the resistance is anti-establishment. The establishment is, Nikki Haley or whatever, Jeb Bush or, Mitt Romney. I don't know.
Crenshaw has become the establishment rather quickly. Remember we like that guy? He's just another one. Dan Crenshaw.
Yes, we'll see. He's pro-war, which is not a good look. But I guess if you're Dan Crenshaw,
you can't be pro-war, MAGA. I mean, this is the big thing. We've taken the Republican Party. We're no longer the party of, we're the party of America First now. That's the working class America First party. That's the Republican Party now.
The problem is because Biden won, big tech gets stronger, more influential. Big media gets stronger and more influential. It's going to be hard to slay that dragon the next 4 years because they got nobody, we're taking them on now. It was a great day. November 4 was a great day for Jack Dorsey and Mark Zuckerberg and YouTube and Google and the rest of them. Sadly, bad day for America. Big day. Great day for big tech. Speaking of big days, Turtleboy, we're going to get to yours. You were in court yesterday and you have a big blog we're going to talk about coming up. But I think you and I should both take a moment to congratulate Andrew Cuomo and Charlie Baker, who got honored last night, virtually, of course. There was no ceremony, sadly. But the Kennedy Institute, which I believe is right here in Boston, the Kennedy, it's this boondoggle. Tax money went to honor, Ted Kennedy because of his wonderful career of debauchery and, manslaughter and everything else he did in his 45 years in the Senate. But they honored Cuomo and Charlie Baker with the Edward M. Kennedy Institute Award for Inspired Leadership.
Oh, very inspired. Yeah, throw a bunch of people in a nursing home that are sick. That's all you have to do. Apparently,
Is this? I don't know what this is. Upside down world? Is this Orwell? Is this 1984? Am I living in some kind of bizarro, surreal, dystopian nightmare? You're telling me there are enough people here, and I guess they're located in Boston, but they got to be all over the country, who look at this and say, two great leaders, Charlie, and I hate to include Charlie Baker in this as much as I can't stand him, and as much as he's done an awful, terrible, rotten, very bad job in Massachusetts. He can't hold a candle to Andrew Cuomo. Cuomo literally killed tens of thousands of senior citizens, literally has the highest death rate in the world, right there with New Jersey. They go back and forth, but the highest death rate in the world, not in the country, in the world. And he's being honored by the Kennedy Institute for leadership, for inspired leadership. And he tweeted out a thank you to everybody. It's an honor to be honored and be up on stage virtually with Charlie Baker. All Baker did was destroy, 10,000 small businesses. Cuomo did that. Plus, he killed thousands of seniors. And we've gone over the details. We've had Janice Dean on the podcast. I don't have to remind our listeners what a monster he is, but he got an award. This is just, we're living in bizarre times.
Yeah.
But congratulations to them. By the way, Charlie Baker yesterday, maybe this clinched the award for him. This could be it, Turtleboy. Yesterday, to see the big news yesterday, what Charlie did?
What?
He announced that, the vaccine's coming. In fact, it's already here. As I told you yesterday, I got a flu shot at CVS, and the woman said they're ready to go and bring the vaccine to nursing homes. That's one of the people at CVS are going to go to area nursing homes and assisted living facilities, which is what they should do. But the old folks who are, been trapped in their nursing homes for 10 months, who are probably all confused and dying and lonely. And I mean, these people are real victims here. They got to wait. Because, lots of prisoners. Give me a prisoner in Massachusetts, a real bad one. I'm thinking of Jared Remy. Excellent choice. Nice. Jared Remy, convicted murderer. I was thinking Charles Janes, who convicted murderer. Lots of convicted. They go first. So that old lady in the nursing home down the street who has been trapped in a room for 9 months and who doesn't know what day it is anymore. She's so confused. We'll get to her, but she's got to wait because Charlie Baker made an announcement. And this is from the Boston Herald. Here's your headline in the Boston Herald. Prisoners to get first crack at coronavirus vaccine under Charlie Baker's plan. And I'm dead serious. I know people say this all the time. I read it twice. I'm like, did they misunderstand what Charlie said? Here's your lead. Prisoners are heading to the front of the line under Charlie Baker's vaccination plan, a politically risky move that could be unpopular with the public.
Could be. Oh,
Is this just kind of like a formality though? Because they wanted, like, prisoners are technically a part of like people who congregate, right, in shelters, nursing homes, things like that, and prisoners are just a part of that group, right? So this is kind of the Boston Herald latching on to that aspect of it, and it's really just a formality.
And protecting prisoners, Brett Jerry, also means you're protecting COs. Keep that in mind.
It also means they have to stay because if they get coronavirus, all the nut jobs like Ayanna Pressley, my crazy congressperson, she wants the doors to the prisons open because of coronavirus. So she wants to send diseased criminals back into the community. That's her plan
and that's literally how she met her husband. Her husband was a convict. She wants everybody to have the same love that she has.
For convicts and criminals. Yeah. That's all. I mean, that's all she cares about. If you see her tweets, it's everything is racial and everything is let's help the worst of the worst in our communities. Here's back to the Herald. The governor's plan released on Wednesday puts prison and jail inmates and homeless people among the first to be given doses of the vaccine as soon as it becomes approved by the FDA. Under Baker's plan, child molesters, rapists, and murderers will be getting the vaccine before the general public, or even before people 65 and older.
I mean, how long do you have to wait? I mean, I'm not getting it anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm not getting the vaccine. You guys getting the vaccine?
I will eventually, but I'm in no rush.
I'm not getting the vaccine because I'm not getting the vaccine for the cold either. I don't care. I don't care if
I got a flu shot the other day because I was sitting in CVS. They had a sign said, "You want a flu shot?" I said, "Sure." I mean, I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm not in favor of forcing people to get the vaccine because I don't see why. Can you help me out here? You're pretty sharp when it comes to this stuff. If I get the vaccine and my wife gets it, and why do I care if you do?
Yeah, exactly. Like you're safe.
That's the whole point. I'm vaccinated.
We've made fun of anti-vaxxers for years, and because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. But the more I think about it, right? If your kid is vaccinated, then what do you care if some other kid's not?
I don't know. Shattuck said it's like when the illegal immigrants came into LA with smallpox, and they spread smallpox for the first time in whatever 100 years. That you don't want that. And I'm thinking, I understand you don't want that overwhelming your hospitals with smallpox people, illegal immigrants with smallpox, and you don't want the hospitals overwhelmed with coronavirus patients. But I think we've learned, as you've learned better than anyone, that's the
biggest hoax ever. That is the biggest hoax of this overwhelming the hospitals nonsense. And then people see it on the news and they'll find some nurse that'll tell you, "Oh my God, we're so overstressed." There's this woman that went viral yesterday on Twitter. Right. I retweeted her. She's from Brown University. She tweets a picture of herself. "I'm so tired. This is the face of me."
Are we still on Facebook? Because I'll have Cullinane pop that up there.
I'm gonna grab it right now. Yeah, we're still on Facebook, and we got a boost, so we might be back on target.
Best
all you gotta
part,
do is complain. Yeah,
Turtleboy. The best part about that tweet is her face. She tweets a picture of her face with a real tired look.
Yes,
she's really.
She's so tired. She's so tired.
Really putting on a show. Look how tired I am. And what's the goal? What are you supposed to do when you see the nurses are that tired? Are you supposed to just feel bad?
Stay home. Just stay home and put on your mask. That's the goal.
Okay, right. Stay home.
It's Rebecca Carb. She said, "Last night, one of my many patients with COVID told me she had a large Thanksgiving dinner with family, 22 people. The day after, one family member tested positive. Since then, according to my patient, all 22 people have developed symptoms, some severe. We are so tired." So basically, it's a doctor telling you, "How dare you see your family on Thanksgiving? Look at me. I'm tired."
Look at the bags. Look at the bags under her eyes. That's serious look.
And then CNN, because I tweeted this out, and it's like the problem isn't just this woman. The problem is the blue check mark from CNN there responding and saying, "Hey, I work at CNN and would like to chat about." That's how they find their news. Some virtue signaling nurse goes viral on Twitter. It's like, "Ooh, I got a story because this fits my agenda. Nurses are tired and they're overworked." But I got a story coming out today, Jerry. I got an internal email from Brigham Women's Hospital, BWH, specifically saying that only 20% of their ICU beds are currently occupied. They're lying to you. This is all a lie. Nothing is being overwhelmed. But it's a lie.
And but we've heard that since April. With the reason you have to do what you're told, even if it just puts you at jeopardy, like not wearing a mask, is because you can't overwhelm the hospitals. And if you follow, Alex Berenson, Jordan Schachtel, they keep up on all their percentages, and there's been no ICU overwhelmed, correct?
No, there's nothing. That's never happened ever.
I mean, we saw the Comfort Ship in New York that wasn't used. We saw the Javits Center, which wasn't used.
Even that 10th and Central Park across the street from the hospital there, Mount Sinai in Manhattan, never used.
And now there's a lot of there's a lot of cases, but not nearly as many seriously ill patients or patients on ventilators or dying because of the therapeutics and all we've learned in the last 6-8 months. So if you hear that they're afraid of overwhelming hospitals, you can be pretty sure it's just a scare tactic, correct?
That's all it is. This is literally, they're falling for the same nonsense all over again and using it to shut down. And you know what, Jerry? I've taken some shit for this, but I'm like Tucker. I'm a guy. I march to the beat of my own drum. Charlie Baker has resisted the urge from a huge push from liberals to close this state down completely, do it all over again. And he knows, I think he realizes he fucked up. And I think he realizes I can't do that again. So what does he do? He tries to throw them a bone by coming up with these ridiculous new rules where, okay, so we're not going to close the restaurants, but you just have to have the mask on, while you order. Okay.
It is. And I mean, you're right in that. I mean, what he did yesterday was he was throwing a bone. He was placating the crazy lefties. He loves to do that. That's why I wish at some point people would stop calling him a Republican. It annoys me. There's nothing Republican about him. Hell, in the story I just read to you, he was being admonished by Jared Polis, a Democrat governor of Colorado, who said that'll never happen in his state. There's no way prisoners are going to get it before members of the vulnerable population. There's a Democrat in Colorado who is taking issue with Baker, but Baker is such a pandering puke. He doesn't have a genuine conviction in his body. He has no real heartfelt feelings about anything. He just puts his finger in the wind, and he's afraid of the Globe, and he's afraid of Ayanna Pressley. He's afraid of the hard left who controls the state. So he says, you know what? We'll give the prisoners the shot first. And then when they want him to shut everything down, he says, you know what? How about we cut back? Instead of 10 people in a restaurant, we'll have 6. And instead of 50% capacity, how about 40?
If you were in a restaurant, Jerry, this new rule, it didn't placate the liberals. They're still mad about it. And if you are a waitress and you came to a table, I would tip my waitress more if she was cool about the mask thing. If she didn't bust our balls, like if we had our mask down and she came up and she's like, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I'd tip her 30, 40%, I'd tip her real good as a sign. So you're almost incentivizing waitresses now to be cool. No?
I can't believe they can even find enough waitresses. I mean, the job is tough and they can't be making much. And I told the story the other night. I was out at last call for the first time in like 20 years. I had them say, hey, last call, what do you want? I'm like, really? It was 9:15 and they were calling last call. But then we finish, pay the check. And I get up and the door's 10 feet away and we're walking out in this is place, the tavern on the square by the garden, walking out. And the host guy was standing at the podium at the front. Sir. And I go, what? I'm like, I forgot something. And he goes, mask. You need a mask. And I mean, I had my little thing and I go, I'm literally 4 feet from being outside. No one around me. And you got to get your mask on. I'm going.
But you're leaving. What are they going to kick you out?
Leaving, heading out into the night with everybody else. Mm-hmm. This stupid curfew makes everyone eat together and everyone leave together, which I would think would not be ideal.
The curfew didn't fix coronavirus, Jerry?
It's hard to believe. You know why? Because it's too late. It's 9:30. It should be 8:30 or maybe 7:30.
Because of daylight savings. 6:30
or 5:30. Right, if they did it, curfew or 4:30, then we would solve this problem. But his new rule, and these new rules are so ridiculous. Again, my heart breaks for restaurant owners, gym owners, small business people who are just getting jerked around by this petty tyrant in Massachusetts, just like they're getting jerked around by all the Democrat petty tyrants everywhere. Now, when you go to the gym, you can't take your mask off at all. So
during cardio, I tried it yesterday for 10 seconds. It ain't gonna work. I don't know. I blow. I blow my nose when I'm running. You know what I mean? I drink a lot of water. Obviously, I'm gonna have to do that, or else literally my freaking mask will just be covered in snot and it's talk about unhealthy. It's how is that healthy?
There's nothing healthy about it. It's all performative art. It's all just for show. But now you can go to the gym. They've cut back the hours too. The gym I go to, they cut back their hours, and you have to sign up for a piece of equipment. So if you go there and you do the elliptical, and you signed up for it, you're good. But then if you turn around and you try to jump on one of the machines and do weights, and you didn't sign up for that particular piece of equipment, they're right there saying, sir, you can't use that. Well, there's no one on it. Well, you didn't sign up for it. It's just ridiculous, arbitrary rules, not from the gyms, not their fault. It's from the state. It's from our a-hole governor. And so now when you're working out hard on the treadmill or elliptical, you have to leave your mask on the whole time. That does nothing. It saves no lives. It does no good. It doesn't flatten the curve or stop the spread, but somehow it makes the right people feel good, I guess. But anyway, all right, I want to get to the big game tonight. And can I just say I'm enjoying the hell out of the NFL season.
I love it too.
There are games on like when you don't even expect it. Monday afternoon, turn on, there's a game. Tuesday night's a game. Like awesome. It's somehow the NFL once again has done it right. When you're sitting there, I completely ignored baseball. I know you did too. I completely ignored that little summer league tournament the NBA had. Didn't know when it was on. Didn't really care. But football, somehow things have fallen into place. The playoff race is shaping up to be great. The games are competitive, and lots of guys opted out, but most didn't. And I'm enjoying the hell out of it. And I can't wait for tonight. Big game. But first, I'm going to tell you about Shea Concrete. Yes, sir. You know all about Shea Concrete, but I'm going to remind you homeowners and home builders that my brother-in-law, Greg, and all the great people at Shea Concrete have a huge selection of precast concrete steps. That's right. Whether you're building a new home or you need to replace an old staircase, Shea has great values with designs for any home. They're available in concrete you can customize with beautiful stone, granite, or brick. They all are awesome, and they can all improve the look and the value of your home. A new staircase can dramatically upgrade the front entrance of your home. That's the place people go first, up your front steps. And having a nice set of front steps is key. In most cases, they can remove the old stairs and have you walking up your new front steps within hours. Just like that, your house looks better and is worth more, and you don't have to do anything. They do all the work. Give them a call or log on to SheaConcrete.com and learn all about Shea Concrete's precast concrete steps. All right, Patriots at Rams. And it's 5 points. I just looked up the line, 5 points. And you know why I like the Patriots?
Why?
I'm not going to say because they're going to control the ball and run the ball and stop the run and blah, blah. Here's probably a stupid take, but when things get weird, Belichick wins. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's this. You could prove me wrong, but it feels like when things are weird, he's the best. His team's the best at overcoming the adversity or the weirdness. And right now it's Thursday night, which is weird. They just played Sunday in the same city, in the same stadium. There's no fans, this bizarre new stadium with a roof but no walls. Things are weird. And normal teams, I don't know, teams like the LA Chargers, Anthony Lynn, teams like the New York Jets, they would have an excuse to lose, and they would wilt and they would fail. Belichick, and I'm going to guess I could prove this with numbers if you gave me a minute, but I'm going to guess when things are really weird, Belichick tends to prevail. And right now, it's a strange night. It's coronavirus. It's no fans. It's staying in the same city, practicing in the same place for a week, and playing the other LA team 4 days after you played the Chargers. That's not anything you want to hang your hat on, but it just feels to me like Belichick wins when things get weird, and right now things are weird.
I think Belichick, right? I mean, first of all, Belichick owns quarterbacks like Jared Goff. Like if you look at the teams that beat us this year, it's the stud quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. That's who beat the Patriots. I mean, even Jimmy G beat the Patriots. That was the worst game of the year. But when you look at who the Patriots have beaten, 5 of our 6 wins are against teams with winning records. The only team that has a losing record that the Patriots beat is the Jets. So they step up for these big games. I don't think they're going to lose this. I think they're going to beat the Rams tonight. And then what? I think.
You know what? You're right. It'll get so. When you think about it, I just looked this. They have a 13 or 14% chance of making the playoffs right now. But if they win, it goes to 28%.
Right.
If they win, they have a winning record, and if they win, they have the same amount of wins as Tom Brady. But if they win, they're 7-6, correct?
Yeah, because if we win, you have to assume Miami's going to lose to the Chiefs this weekend, and then they would be 8-6, or no, they'd be 8-5, and we would be 7-6, and we play them the week after. If we beat them in that game, then we surpass them in the standings. We're in the playoffs already at that point.
How many points would you say the Patriots scored because of just horrible coaching last week? Like, how many points would you allocate of what they put up? 40? Is that what
That's a good question. I'll bet you somebody online somewhere makes it quantifies that and gives you a number of coaching wins or the coaching advantage. But that was the Anthony Lynn's. That was the worst coaching day. I realized, Adam Gates is terrible and there's some bad coaches. But when you consider the mistakes they made, and we went over them Monday, 12 men on the field, 10 men on the field, hands to the face on fourth down or on fourth down, excuse me, when they get a first down. It was just one stupid mistake after another, just special teams letdown after special teams letdown. He has this young stud quarterback, and he just looks like he's in terrible hands. You can't fire that guy fast enough if you're Dean Spanos, the Chargers owner, because you need someone to help Justin Herbert get it right. How many points? I would say 3 touchdowns. Belichick over Anthony Lynn, 3 touchdowns.
So we're playing the best defense basically in the league with the best, probably you could almost say Aaron Donald's the best player in the league. Yeah. You put up a fight again. I mean, obviously he's not, what's his name there, the Chiefs quarterback, but he's the best defensive player in the league, clearly. Bad coaching plus that, I'm not going to say they're going to get smoked, but we're not going to win the game. We're definitely not going to win.
You don't think we're going to win the game?
No, we're not going to win the game.
Oh, you're a freaking idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. The Rams, they're obviously a good team.
They have a good coach. You must admit you're not going against Anthony Lynn again. Yeah.
No, but I mean, we get up for these big games. I mean, John Harbaugh's a good coach, isn't he? What do we do to Baltimore? Waxed them. The Patriots get up for these big games, and I got news for you. Like, you don't want to face the Patriots in the playoffs if they're a 10-6 team. If Patriots, put it this way, Patriots go into Pittsburgh, right? First game of the playoffs, right? If they're the 2 seed and we're the 7, who wins that game?
Patriots go into Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Are you afraid of the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Here's the problem you have if you are the Patriots, and with the way they play right now. I mean, I said this the other day. There's no high school football in Massachusetts because, the virus.
Yes.
But you have a professional team that plays high school football. They have a quarterback who runs, who throws, completes 12 passes a game when he has to. That kind of team, that kind of football is hard to play when you get down 10, 12, 14 points. So if the Rams go up 2 touchdowns, you're going to have to drop back and throw, on first down, second down with Cam Newton. He'll throw a pick. He'll get sacked.
How are the Rams going to go up 2 touchdowns?
I'm just giving you a hypothetical. How they would do it? I would say they'd score 2 touchdowns.
Jared Goff is going to come out and set the world on fire. That's what Jared Goff does. Come on, Steph Gilmore is going to. It's not going to happen. That's not the quarterback that Jared Goff is. It's never been the quarterback that he is.
Why are you such a homer this year? Like, why? No. It's literally just a toss up. So it's just I mean, but for you to just say, oh no, they're going to win easily.
Toss up. The Rams are favored, and if they get a lead, then the Patriots have to throw. I mean, obviously Cam Newton could do the little run pass options all day, but they're going to have to drop back and throw if the Rams go up 2 touchdowns. And I don't think
true. Look at the Buffalo. How much was Buffalo beating us by in that game? They were winning by 2 touchdowns, weren't they? We crawled back into that game by doing what we always do. Just give the ball to Damian Harris, let people run all over them. I mean, this is an interesting team. They're a competitive team. It's fun to watch them. I'm really looking forward to a Thursday night game with the Patriots for the first time in a long time.
They're 30th in the league in passing yards, 3rd in rushing yards.
There's 2 teams worse than us.
Well, what are the Jets at? I'll look that up. But Cam Newton, he's been fun. He has funny hats and he likes his teammates, and he's the greatest interview the Patriots have ever had. But he still has 5 touchdown passes on the season and 9 picks, and you can't tell me that you feel like he could come out and throw for 350 tonight if it turns into a
God, no, he can't.
A shootout. He can't do it.
No, you can't do it. Could we have a situation here where it's like a split quarterback thing? If you need to throw, Jared Stidham comes in because you look good, Jerry, at the end there.
And Cam Newton was happy for him. Said, Stiddy got the job done. Stiddy has 2 touchdown passes in 26 attempts this year. And Cam Newton to wideouts. He has 2 touchdown passes to wideouts in 26 attempts. Cam Newton has 2 touchdown passes to wideouts in 300 attempts. So, I mean, I think Stiddy might be better at getting it down the field. And it's kind of a dirty little secret because Cam is fun and they've won 3 of 4. And the dirty little secret is their quarterback is incapable of winning you a game through the air. He's incapable of throwing for 350 and putting up 30 points through the air. It's most QBs in the NFL, they can do that now. That's kind of the game. But he can't. He's old school, man. He's running the ball and handing it off and, not turning it over. That's what you ask of him. But anyway, it is fun. Thursday Night Football. I'm with you. I wish they played every night. Do
you think there'll be any changes? And I know 2020 is a weird year, and I don't think the ratings are indicative of any success. There's not a lot of success stories, but NFL traditionally just owns Sunday top to bottom. Do you think they take any lessons out of this and say, we could pull off other day? I don't know. Do you just think
because they don't want to do Saturday because of college football. They don't want to do Friday because of high school football, allegedly. To me.
And we wouldn't want them to do that, right? That's fine. We got enough football those days.
Too bad you're not into college football, because there is drama deluxe with Ohio State now. Have you been following any of this?
Yeah, I watch college football starting now. I do. I used to,
But you see the thing with Ohio State there, they're not playing Michigan now, so they might be the best team in the country, and they're not going to be eligible.
No, they changed the rule. They're eligible.
Oh, they're back. They fixed that.
Yes, they're back. They fixed that.
Are they going to play A&M? Is that how they did it? I heard that was the way they could schedule with Texas A&M.
No, they just changed the rule. You don't need the minimum of whatever to 6 to make playoffs. And you know what? They should. It's not Ohio State's fault.
Right.
Their coach fought harder than anybody to get the season going, and
it's not their fault that they have some political hack for a commissioner.
Right.
You shouldn't punish Justin Fields for that.
Exactly. I'm with you, and I think. I think it's a good four. Those are good 4 teams. They're one of the 4 best, and that's a good thing.
The college football playoff is better with Ohio State in it than with 3 SEC teams or something like that, or Notre Dame and Clemson. So it's going to be interesting if we get a scenario there where Florida beats Alabama in the SEC championship and Clemson beats Notre Dame, who's already beaten them. Then you're going to have those Florida's going to get in, Clemson's going to get in, Ohio State's going to get in, and it's going to be between Notre Dame and Alabama to get into. It's going to be crazy. So it's a really interesting
Notre Dame and Ohio State.
What was that?
Between Notre Dame and Ohio State, correct?
No, Ohio State will be in because they'll be the Big Ten designated team.
Oh, right.
We'll come down to Notre Dame and Alabama because neither will be a conference champion.
All right, Alabama's not losing to Florida. Here's the answer. Well, I guess we could have guessed. The Patriots are 30th. They average 191 yards passing a game. That's pretty bad. Jets are 31st, and your Baltimore Ravens, who didn't even have to throw the ball to beat the Cowboys, who are a really good running team, good running quarterback. They're 32nd in the NFL in passing yards per game. Before we go, this reminded me, I wanted to do this quickly. Again, we did it yesterday. We talked about Spencer Smith, the 16-year-old kid from Brunswick, Maine, who killed himself because of the isolation, the loneliness, because he couldn't go to school, because he couldn't play football. He's, he doesn't matter to the lockdown crowd. They're busy, saving 85-year-olds with 6 comorbidities. That's their goal. And God bless them. They matter too. But Laura Ingram did a great piece, talked to Jay Smith, Spencer's father. And I looked up the numbers, and it's incredible. And they don't even mention it. In death per million, which is the most important stat, death rate, state of Maine is 50th.
Really? 50th. Interesting.
They've had 260 deaths total, I think it is. 200 and in 9 months, 246. In 9 months, the whole state of 1,000,003. So it's really not like New York or even California. It's not like Massachusetts. It's Maine. It's rural. It's not people. There was 1 death of someone under 50 last week. Tragic, no question. But I think a 16-year-old who is so lonely and just so depressed and kills himself, I think he matters more, I'm sorry, than someone who's 85. I just do. And I think he should.
There's nothing wrong with saying that either. There's anybody who feigns outrage over that is just a liar. If you don't think we value the young more than the ultra elderly, then you're just not living in the reality that the rest of us are. That's just how it works.
And we talked about it yesterday and played some of his father, but Jay Smith talked to Laura Ingram, and he was great, and it was heartbreaking, and he had a message for all parents. He said he didn't think his kid was that depressed. He didn't see it coming. He said the thing that really sent him on this downward spiral was when they canceled tackle football. He had gotten in shape. He was looking forward to it. He was one of these kids that was his identity. He's a big kid. Football was his outlet. It was his identity. It was his passion. And for no reason, Janet Mills, another petty tyrant, the Maine governor, said, no more of that. School was 1 day a week. The rest was virtual. He didn't get any contact with his friends. He gave up. He said he stopped working out, stopped riding his bike, and just gave up. And last Friday, he ended his life. And we joke about the corrupt media, but this is one of those examples. I wonder, will you read, a nice feature about Spencer Smith or, from, New York Times or Boston Globe? Will CNN do the story? Will MSNBC? They won't. I'm going to guess they won't, because it does not serve their purposes. Fortunately, someone like Laura Ingraham and what was Janet, the woman Janice?
That was the local Maine affiliate.
The local reporter did a great job yesterday. I'll get her name. Did a great job on this story, but it's heartbreaking, and it matters. And the idea that because 246 elderly people lost their lives with the coronavirus in the state, so Spencer Smith can't play football with his friends. It's madness. And at some point we all have to agree on that, because the idea that he's expendable is nauseating and sickening. And I recommend you look for the Laura Ingraham piece. I'm sure it's online, and look at the interview with his father, because it is a warning. It's a warning to other parents, and it's not always what it seems. You should talk to the kids. I think you should do that now, Turtleboy. Go talk to your kids. Make sure they're doing okay. So
it should be okay.
We thought I was wrong about one thing. I think we were all wrong about one thing. Once Biden got elected, they would open the schools, but
not elected, inaugurated, Jerry. There's a reason.
I'm sorry. And the teachers unions would finally, actually go back and do their friggin' jobs, but apparently that's not happening either. But do you have that reporter's name?
Reporter Jackie Mundry. Jackie
Mundry did a terrific job. I recommend checking her report out from Brunswick, Maine, about the Spencer Smith family as well.
And you wonder how many more stories are out there like that you're just not hearing about. The only mainstream media outlet outside of what you just said, Laura Ingraham, was NBC published an article about it, but it's all local stuff out there.
And you're right. If you could go to a shrink's office, like a child psychiatrist's office, they would tell you they're overwhelmed with kids dealing with depression and loneliness, the parents concerned. It is a huge factor that's just ignored. I mean, you see CNN, all they do is talk about the death rate, the cases, the spike, the overwhelmed hospitals, which, as Turtleboy knows, is a lie. Kids like this, they should matter more than they do now. But anyway, check that out. Check out Laura Ingram's report and Jackie Mundry's report, because this is a story that should not be ignored. All right, Turtleboy, you got the big blog coming up about the
it's gonna be interesting. You're gonna stay tuned for the one I got coming this morning.
It's about these performers, these healthcare workers / performers who
liars. That's what they are. Propagandists.
The liars, propagandists. That's Turtleboy's word. That's Turtleboy's word. Read him at tbdailynews.com. All right, thanks, man. We will talk to you. And thanks to Shea Concrete and Allied Paving, and thanks to DCU and Flagship. Anything else, Cullinane?
I'm surprised we didn't get the Jamel Hill. I think boxing in general is just a racist sport. So it's just that's a conversation that needs to be had.
Here's the problem, and I was just reading it before we started, and because I can't stand her, and it's amazing. She's got more jobs and more money, and never does anything worthwhile. She's not a good writer. We've already gone over that. But so Jamel Hill interviews Jake Paul and asks him if he thinks it's racist that he knocked out Nate Robinson.
Yes, but there's not too much reasoning behind that concept.
Unlike what she usually does, she said she was just kidding, and I guess it's all a defense in my mind. If she's just kidding, what else can you say?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, we were talking about the story before the show. It's just, I don't know. It's on like a major network. It's just for you to be kidding about something like that. You're putting the guy in a horrible spot. I would have flipped out if anybody ever acted like that.
It's Jake Paul, and nobody cares about his feelings, and she claimed she was just kidding, and he didn't take it that way. But it's stupid. It's not funny, but. No. I guess it's a legit defense to say, hey, we were just kidding. And I'm not going to sit there and say I was offended.
Yeah.
She's just not good at any of her jobs. That's the bottom line. She's cashed in and she'll continue to cash in because, it pays. Race baiting pays and she's good at it, but she's terrible at writing. And
I kind of don't believe her, by the way. Not that we need to go in. I mean, I
don't believe she was kidding.
Well, I mean, her co-host there, Carrie Champion, like added in a serious way, like added to it. So it's like, okay, are you kidding, or were you talking about something right before you went live and having you know what I mean? Or are you just saying in the moment you're just like, screw it, we're gonna take shit for this, so I'm gonna say I'm kidding.
True. I mean, you want to?
I don't know I don't know what her reasoning would be because it's insanity, but I don't know.
You want to play it? You're in the story. Go ahead. I mean, she claimed she was kidding. He didn't laugh. We'll see if it sounds like she was kidding.
To be honest, I almost started to protest this show because
why?
I'll tell you why. And this is our question of the week. We saw what happened to Nate Robinson, so I'm going to ask Jake Paul right here in front of America. Jake, considering where we are right now in our racial conversation in America, was what you did to Nate Robinson racist?
That is the question of the week.
Man.
Nah, stop playing with me. Come on.
Listen, Jake, it's a sensitive time right now. We just had to witness a white man just knock a black man smooth out in front of all of America. So that's why I asked that. But just tell us about that moment.
Yeah, I mean, she goes on, and you'll see if you kept watching, you'd see her co-host. I mean, she's laughing, so I get it, but it just comes off to me like there's something else there, and they just decided to avoid it.
Yeah, she's laughing. It's stupid, but that's the way her mind works, though. Her mind works. Everything's racist, and maybe she tried to come up with a racist angle, and she couldn't. So she said, hey, I'll just ask him if it was racist to knock him out, and we'll giggle and pretend we were just kidding. And, I guess it's a legit defense, but why the hell are they even talking to him anyway? That sounds like an awful interview. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess because he was trending online and they're trying to capitalize off that. If you really cared about that situation, like, wouldn't you bring that up before the fight? Like, what would happen if he knocked him out? Isn't that the goal of boxing, to knock the guy out?
Yeah. And, that was the most entertaining part of the night. It was certainly better than the Tyson Roy Jones, the draw. But, yeah. Anyway, we'll see. Who's Jake Paul fighting next? Who's he got next?
That's a good question.
Floyd Mayweather or somebody.
Yeah. Well, Floyd Mayweather is fighting his brother for a I don't know if it's charity. I forget. He's fighting his brother Logan Paul soon.
Oh, good. At least he's not fighting his wife, which is Floyd Mayweather. Sometimes
it's a positive.
All right, we'll see what they have next for us. I can't wait to see the next big fight. All right, that's it for today. We got, next week we got some big news. We're not ready to break it, to announce it here, but we will next week, I believe. And I'm pretty fired up about it, and I know you are too, Cullinane. But
and let me give a warning if you're hopefully you're still with us at this point. I always preach it, or I used to preach it a lot. Rate, review, subscribe, because clearly today we have issues with places like Facebook. We have issues with places like YouTube. Rate, review, subscribe. We'll never go away with there, and you'll be the first to get it when you subscribe to the podcast. So please do so.
Excellent. Appreciate it. That's Dave Cullinane. I'm Jerry Callahan. This is the Callahan Podcast, and we will talk to you again soon.